Advisor says U.S. likely attack Nord Stream pipelines to isolate Germany. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and blessings on all you brethren teaching this word in all sincerity and truth. To the 144,000 House of David, shalom, and peace to the great multitude men, women, and children. The Lord will have mercy on as well. It's the brother Dama Al-Gabar from GMS Los Angeles with another lesson. Lord willing to give you edification. All right, and as I was reading this article, it immediately made me think of in the book of Revelations and in the book of Obadiah, dealing with the allies of Babylon the Great, the allies of Esau, which was going to eventually, turn on, the allies of America, which are going to eventually turn on this place and burn this place with fire, man. And what, this article suggests, it can be linked with biblical prophecy as far as, those that are confederate with the whore are going to, turn their back on America when all is said and done. Because what America's, if this happens to be a true statement, which it most likely is that the reason in this article that America decided to isolate Germany, which was really dependent upon this Nord Stream pipeline, America did it to isolate Germany because Germany, was tired of supporting the war in Ukraine, which, Germany is part of the beast. It's an ally to America. It's a part of NATO. It's a part of the EU. I'm not sure if it's part of both or if it's just part of the EU. But as we know, they are an ally of, they are allied to America through NATO and the EU. And basically, this is America, isolating one of its allies, And Germany was part of the 10 toes, part of that miry clay. And it was part of the ones that was partly strong. But now that, Germany is basically, trying to do things in their best interest for their country, to have, access to these pipelines and to basically be able to, take care of their citizens. Hey, their home major ally, America, and Britain has isolated them, and they say in this article, well, this is a former Pentagon advisor saying that they did it to isolate Germany, which is, one of the reasons why we believe is going to lead to other allies and other members of the EU and NATO, which is the beast, according to scriptures, to turn on the whore, which is America, Babylon the Great, man. So I'm gonna read a little bit of this article. I'm gonna hop around. Got a couple of precepts, and Lord willing, you can be edified. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but hey, these are the signs and the things that we are looking for, so that prophecy can be fulfilled, and ultimately Babylon can be judged and destroyed. It says a former Pentagon advisor says the most likely culprits behind the Nord Stream pipeline blast are the United States and Britain, which they're all United States and Britain. They're all allied with NATO, and the EU. It says, and that attack was carried out to prevent Germany from bailing on the war in Ukraine. You see, so this is the United States and America. I mean, Great Britain and the United States. Which America is the whore, and Babylon. America is that great whore that sitteth upon the beast. All right, and what does it do? It's isolating one of its allies from bailing on the war in the Ukraine. Because basically Germany, they were tired of, they got tired of supplying Ukraine with these weapons. And basically they're trying to do what they got to do that's in the best interest of them and their citizens and their country, man. And having this Nord Stream 2 pipeline, they were heavily invested in it. And this is how they were receiving a lot of their natural gas and their power. So since they were trying to do what was in their own best interest and not in the best interest of the United States and the beast, hey, they shitted on them pretty much, man. They isolated them. They did something to where you can you basically they were dishonest to them, man. They violated their covenant. They violated them being allies, and this is something that you would totally cut somebody off for, man. So we can see, America's going to end up doing this to a lot of its allies, to a lot of these NATO countries and EU and these beast system countries, which is going to eventually cause these allied nations to turn on Babylon, man. When Babylon is down and out, when it's on its last leg, they're going to have a change of heart. It says retired U.S. Army Colonel Douglas MacGregor made the comments during an appearance on Judging Freedom podcast. MacGregor said a process of elimination rules out Germany because they are dependent on Nord Stream for their energy security, while it also served no benefit for Russia to have sabotaged its own infrastructure. You see? And this is why a lot of these countries are going to turn on America, because these America wants these different countries and the allied countries, which basically America runs the NATO and the EU. All right, that's why the woman that's on the scarlet colored beast represents America, and she's riding the beast, meaning that she's in control. She's at the reins of it. She's controlling it. She's making the ultimate decisions, for these different beast countries, whether they want to accept it or not. And this is an example of that, man. You see? It says, would the Russians destroy their own pipeline? 40% of Russian gross national product or gross domestic product consists of foreign currency that comes into the country to purchase natural gas, oil, and coal and so forth. So the Russians did not do this. The notion that they did, I think, is absurd, MacGregor said. And the mainstream news media here in the States is going to continue to push that sentiment that it was Russia. It says, referring to Polish MEP Radoslaw, whatever, infamous deleted tweet in which he wrote, "Thank you, USA," MacGregor noted. Who else might be involved? Well, the Poles apparently seem to be very enthusiastic about it. It says, however, citing reports from, I don't want to read that part. Where's the point? It says, then you have to look at who are the state actors that have the capability to do this. And that means the Royal Navy, the United States Navy Special Operations, said MacGregor. I think that's pretty clear. We know that thousands of pounds of TNT were used because these pipelines are enormously robust. You have several inches of concrete and various metal alloys to move the natural gas. So it's not something that you could simply drop a grenade down at the end of a fish line and disrupt. This means it takes certain amount of sophistication, he added. And we already heard Biden on TV talking about that if Russia invaded or whatever, that they would take out these pipelines, And when the woman asked him how, he just said, he didn't really give an answer. He just said, just trust me, we can. And hey, now, things are becoming more evident, At the end of the question, you always have to ask yourself, who's looking to benefit from this? I think the word is Q bono. Who's going to benefit from this? You see? It says MacGregor suggested that the motive behind the attack was to prevent Germany from bailing on the Ukraine war after Berlin began to give the impression that they were no longer going to go along with this proxy war in Ukraine. You see? And that's what America does to its allies, man. Whenever you decide to, when you're using logic and you see that, the direction that the Babylon is leading you down towards is not in your best interest, and you look to pull out, hey, they're going to sabotage the whole deal and do particular things to make you stay involved, man. And look what they did. They jacked up that pipeline, which is something that Germany was majorly heavily dependent upon. And now it's putting them in an even worse situation to where they're basically like, look, you ain't got no choice. Your ass is going to get involved in this, whether you like it or not, that's something that causes friends to become enemies, And this is why eventually, the U.S. is going to do this to a lot more of these NATO nations, to a lot of these different, the 10-toed nations, all those nations that are involved in NATO and the EU, something's going to more things like this are going to happen to where America is going to isolate itself from its allies. You see, it says, I'm hesitant to say we know it must have been Washington. I can't say that because we just don't know, but it's very clear that we have foreclosed Berlin's options. Berlin was drifting away from this alliance. See? Chancellor Olaf Scholz said, I'm not sending any more equipment. I won't send any tanks. Now he's in a bind because the United States has simply robbed him of the option of bailing out, you see? And this is something that calls friends to become enemies, man. You see? And this type of shit that these nations are not going to forget. So when Germany is struggling because of this pipeline and catching, their citizens are catching all type of hell, things are getting more and more expensive. They're going to be able to really, flourish as a country and as a nation. Who are they going to ultimately have to blame? This is going to be the West, and this decision that they made to blow up that pipeline. Now they're going to be dependent upon, however they're going to end up getting natural gas and the supplies that they need to help their country, they're going to have to go, to probably to the West and to America to get it. But it's going to come with stipulations, which is not going to be in their best interest. They're going to have to do a lot of things that they don't really want to do, but they're going to have to do it because they're going to be relying upon the West to provide particular things from it, which is ultimately just going to produce more hatred and more anger on Germany towards the West. And you better believe when the opportunity presents itself, hey, they're going to want to get their lick back, So the Lord is moving all of these different chess pieces to make, prophecy ultimately to be fulfilled. It says, now he's in a bind because the United States has simply robbed him of his option of bailing out. Who's going to supply him gas and oil and coal and everything else if he bails out? Where does he turn now? You see? And remember, the Germans, who are facing terrible consequences at home, refuse to restart nuclear power plants, the former official said. You see? It says, as we previously reported, the CIA warned Germany of potential attacks on gas pipelines in the Baltic weeks before Nord Stream 1 and 2 were targeted. Both Joe Biden and Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs Victoria Nuland asserted that Nord 2 Stream wouldn't be allowed to operate if Russia attacked Ukraine. You see? So now Germany finds itself in a very sticky situation, man. Now they're going to have to rely on the West. So that means you're going to have to be an underling and you're going to have to do shit that you don't want to do, because you need their help. You're relying upon them, man. You see, and like I said, and they're going to do this to a lot of the different allies to America. They're going to leave a lot of their allies out to dry so that they can do what's best for their interests, even if it's not in the best interest of their allies. You see. Let me see. This is I'll start here. Revelation 17:12. It says, "In the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast." You see, and this is the whole, all the different tributary nations that helped, NATO and the EU become the power that they are. And then they join with America eventually. It says, "These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast." You see, this is NATO and the EU. And all the nations that are joined into it with the woman riding the scarlet colored beast, which is Babylon the Great, America. And then basically, all the decision making and the power is given unto, America, which is the head of the beast. It says, "These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and he that are with him are called and chosen and faithful," which are dealing with Yahushua returning. Eventually they're going to try to fight against Yahushua and the angels. But here's the point. "And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth." See, where's the whore? Who is the whore? America, Babylon the Great. And where is she sitting? All these peoples, multitudes, and nations and tongues is basically all of these different EU nations that are allied to America. NATO and the EU. And any other nation that they have power over, but mainly through NATO and the EU, which is the beast. Okay. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." You see, and by America doing different things like they're doing, by destroying that pipeline and isolating Germany and basically forcing their hand to stay involved, even against their best interests, are the type of things that are going to happen that's going to make these different NATO and EU nations and the allies of America hate the whore, which is America. You see? They're all going to, America's going to do something eventually to piss off every single allied nation unto them, and eventually they're going to, turn their nukes and send fire upon this bitch. It says, "And these shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." You see, what is that? Those nuclear missiles, man. So a lot of these different allies, even Great Britain, a lot of these different NATO countries, they're all eventually going to turn and hate the whore, which is America, and they're going to burn her with fire and nuke her. You see? Now, we can't tell you exactly how each and every, thing is going to play out, but we know that the allies are going to eventually turn upon America and double cross her and set a trap for her and destroy her, man. It says, "For God have put it in their hearts to fulfill his will." You see? So the Lord is ultimately moving all these different chess pieces. He's putting the spirit on America to do shady things like they just did to Germany and other things that they're going to do in the near future that's going to have their allies to be pissed off and to turn on her. It says, "And to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which is America, Babylon the Great, which reigneth over the kings of the earth." See? And they're going to eventually, cause things to, her enemies to to turn on her. This is Obadiah 1:6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? There's the point. All the men of thy confederacy, still is dealing with Esau. How are all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border? The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee, and they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. See? And shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise man out of Edom and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And that's what you see happening. All right. But let's get this in the NLT. All right. This is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 7. It says, all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. You see, and it will make perfect sense for, Germany to set a trap for this devil after what he just pulled on him by destroying that pipeline and basically forcing him to stay involved in this war in Ukraine that he didn't want to be a part of anymore, man. And what did he do? He went and blew up, the main source of their natural gas and their energy that's being supplied to their country, to where now they're going to have to go to America and their other allies in order for them to receive these things, which puts them in a bind, which puts you in a situation that they don't really want to be in, but you're forcing them to be in it, man. Would that not cause your so-called your ally to plot against you and to get you back and to try to find a way to get out from up under your chokehold you have on them, man? And this is what's going to happen to Esau, Edom, man, and America and Babylon the Great. And then, this place is going to be a double cross, man. All of his friends are going to set traps for you. A lot of them are going to make backdoor deals that's going to ultimately benefit them. And it's going to cause you to be hurt, man, and burned and literally destroyed and burnt with fire, man. You see, so I just want to just go into this little quick lesson because, we can see through this, you're able to link it, to prophecy, to see these are the type of things that's going to cause the allies and those that are confederate with, America to eventually turn on them and burn them with fire, man. So, hey, with that, Lord willing, you were edified. Call Halal Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai for putting the spirit on me and do this lesson. Until the next one, Shalom.